Today, I'm going to rank all of the positive traits in Project Zomboid. Since updates have been paused until Build 42 comes out, this is the perfect time to do so and have it be relevant for the maximum amount of time. I'll be using only one mod for this. It's called More Descriptions for Traits, and all it does is add extra information in the tooltips for the traits. Mostly numbers and other details that would be hidden, like the foraging radius bonuses. Due to this, I will avoid talking about all of the tiny bonuses each trait gets unless I specifically think it's important. Herbalist's bonus to search radius isn't of importance compared to what it does, for example. I'm going to try to fly through these traits in order, as otherwise it'll be a very long video. Speed Demon is easily an A tier trait. Its main bonus is increased acceleration in cars. This breaks down to two distinct advantages. You'll be better at towing, particularly in bad situations such as driving through grass, and you'll be better at escaping hordes with your car, as the extra acceleration between zombies helps maintain a higher speed. However, Speed Demon is the only positive trait I know of that has a downside. When reversing, your car is significantly louder. It's similar to shooting one of the louder guns or even honking your horn. As such, you'll want to avoid putting yourself in situations where you need to reverse in zombie-infested territory. I'll note the increased top speed doesn't help much when cars have a global speed limit in multiplayer that defaults fairly low. Cat Eyes increases your field of view at night, or rather it reduces how much your field of view decreases at night. It also boosts the overall brightness at night. For 2 points, this is an S tier trait, but it's not necessary in single player, as you can normally avoid nighttime gameplay. Dexterous speeds up item transfers. It's mostly a quality of life bonus, but it comes in clutch when you are desperately trying to pick up that one item you need while zombies close in on all sides. Easily an S tier trait at its current cost. Fast Reader increases your reading speed by 30%. You can fast forward in single player, which basically makes this trait pointless. In multiplayer, it depends on how fast the server owner sets the reading speed, as reading the higher tier books can easily take more than 30 real life minutes. I'm putting it in C tier just for its potential usage in multiplayer, as the first time you die and realize your new character will be spending another 6 or more real life hours reading books, it gets very tempting. Outdoorsman is an instant S tier trait. It massively reduces the chance to be wounded while moving through trees. And even more importantly, it massively reduces the chance to catch a cold when your character is cold. Yes, in Project Zomboid, your character catches a cold when they get cold. Having Outdoorsman means you can on average sit around hypothermic for several minutes or longer before you catch a cold. Without it, you pretty much instantly catch one. The main downside of a cold being the constant coughing drawing in all the nearby zombies. This trait is a lifesaver the moment temperatures drop. Wakeful reduces your natural fatigue generation by 30%. If you've watched any of my videos on fatigue, you'll know that this is an S tier trait because fatigue and stamina regeneration are a feedback loop. It's more than just sleeping less. Iron Gut is the first of the complete garbage traits. It reduces the chance you get sick from eating poisonous food. The problem being, it does not make you immune to death via said food. As such, it's worthless. You never want to eat bad food in the first place, and eating a piece of burnt raw food is a death sentence. I'm putting Angler in the A tier. Fishing can take over as your primary source of food, and with this trait giving you bonus experience as well as a starting skill point, fishing is easy from day one when combined with the special fishing hours. Baseball player shall be the first B tier trait. All the weapon skill traits are very powerful due to the increased leveling speed. However, they aren't entirely necessary either. Brave is an incredibly powerful trait. It reduces the amount of panic you gain when zombies enter your personal space bubble, and this goes hand in hand with your panic reduction speed, which increases over time. The panic debuff reduces your effectiveness in combat, so you do want to avoid it. This means it's a late bloomer of a trait, so I'll put it in B tier. The quality of life you get from not having to carry beta blockers or plan out your combat to avoid panic easily justifies the cost in a long-term run. First Aider is straight F tier. The first aid skill in Zomboid barely does anything. It does not cause your wounds to heal faster. It makes your bandages last longer before becoming dirty, but dirty bandages do not cause your wounds to heal slower either. Then it turns out the resulting infections from dirty bandages does not cause wounds to heal slower. The only good thing First Aid does is speed up the rate a splintered broken bone heals and reduces the debuff of said broken bone. A high First Aid character can splint up a broken leg and allow an injured player to immediately run again. Too bad you can easily level the skill by standing in broken glass while repeatedly removing said broken glass from your feet. There's no vanilla game reason to focus on the skill until you break a bone that can be splinted. Only then should you power level it up as much as you can. Gardener goes to F tier as well. Once you do have the seeds for farming, it's an extremely easy skill to level, and there's no reason to spend trait points on a bonus to it. The advantage of knowing the plant cure recipes is lost the moment you find said recipe, and even without it, you can plant more crops to make up for any losses. Graceful is a tricky one. The reduction to footstep sounds is instant and large. However, it's the reduced chance to trip when running or sprint vaulting a fence that carries the skill. Then you get to the part where it reduces the chance for lunging zombies to knock you down, and it really starts making a difference. But it's one of those skills where you can change the way you play to avoid needing to take it. As such, I'm throwing it in B tier. Inconspicuous sounds amazing, but it turns out the reduced chance to be spotted doesn't matter much. Hiding from zombies visually is in a really bad spot due to what I can only guess is the spotting check happening too frequently for even a low percent chance to help. For example, if you have a 1% chance to be spotted, and it checks 100 times a second, well, you're going to get spotted within 1 second on average. This means inconspicuous and visual stealth in general are only good for very short durations, like crossing in front of a window. This is D tier at best. Light Eater is an interesting trait. With a change of calorie usage while walking, the hunger moodle and threat of death via weight loss are so far apart from each other, they might as well be entirely different mechanics. Light Eater's reduction to the hunger moodle is quite nice as a quality of life bonus. You need to bring less hunger reducing food with you, and you'll face reductions to your carrying capacity less often. I'll put it on the high end of C tier, but it could be B tier if you prefer less annoyances in your gameplay. Lucky increases the amount of loot that spawns in single player. It is not available in multiplayer. It's a 10% increase, which is honestly not enough to matter for any of the rare loot. Going from 1% to 1.1% is pretty disappointing. It does increase the chance you successfully repair an item by 5%, but even with that, I give it to the D tier. In my experience, items are either set so rare I cannot find enough weapons or materials to repair with, or so abundant I never need to repair anyway. Nutritionist makes it so you can see the nutrition stats of all food. As cool as it is to see how many calories that fish you just caught has, it's not worth any trait points. F tier. Resilient reduces your chance to catch a cold as well as the speed it gets worse, which means it would be half decent if it didn't have double the cost compared to Outdoorsman, while reducing the cold catching chance by less. It also slows down how fast you die from the zombie infection, but you will still die from it. There's no vanilla way to survive the zombie infection. D tier at best. Runner is a boost to your sprinting skill. This is invaluable if you play against sprinters, but otherwise not really worth it. Sprinting is one of the slower skills to level, so if you do want to raise it, you'll be looking at finding a bonus to it. Maybe high D tier in general, but near S tier if you are playing against sprinters. Sewer boosts your tailoring skill. Like all the other skill boosts, the real benefit is the experience gain multiplier. Your chance to gain thread when ripping clothes is based on your tailoring level, so it does help out in the early days as well. Armoring your character up is an effective way to avoid death, but most players prefer looking good over armor. You do gain the ability to properly fix clothes at level 8, which should interest those players looking for rare fashion. I'll put it in C tier because you either want it or you don't care. Amateur Mechanics starts you with the recipes to fix standard and heavy duty vehicles, as well as a bonus to the mechanic skill. It's fairly acceptable as a choice if you plan on repairing cars without taking the mechanic occupation. I will note that the early levels of mechanic are easily gained by reading the books and watching the VHS tapes. You should only take this if you want to easily max out the skill. Another C tier situational trait. Gymnast is instant S tier. Nimble is the slowest skill to level and one of the most valuable when it comes to combat. The boost in light-footed is frosting on top of the cake. Sound-based stealth is very good in the game, although it is often better to be loud and attract all the zombies hiding in the corners waiting to ambush you. This passive trait does allow you to have the choice in whether you go loud or quiet. A ranked brawler like all the other weapon-based bonuses. It's good, but not amazing. I will note it has a better trait point to skill ratio than baseball player. B tier. Cook teaches you all the cooking recipes and gives you a +2 boost in cooking. When you reach a high enough cooking skill, you can safely add bits of rotten food into your meals. The problem is that cooking is an easy skill to level, and you don't need the recipes at all. D tier. Eagle-Eyed increases your character's field of view by a tiny bit. At 6 trait points, it's a very steep cost, although potentially life-saving. However, it's sitting at the same cost as Keen Hearing, which is far better at keeping you alive. D tier. Fast Healer doesn't actually make you heal faster, rather it reduces the severity the wound starts out at. Since a single scratch can kill you, it's kinda worthless to be investing in it. If you play without infection or with a way to survive infection, it's very good. C tier. Fast Learner boosts all experience gained aside from fitness and strength by 30%. It's quite good. A tier. Fit gives +2 to fitness. Fitness levels give a bunch of bonuses, but it levels very slowly. A tier. Former Scout gives a bonus to Foraging and First Aid. I already explained why First Aid is bad before, and Foraging is by far the easiest skill to level as you gain large amounts of experience while finding things. D tier. Herbalist allows you to identify poisonous plants from foraging, as well as giving you the ability to find medicinal plants. The downside being, you can find a magazine that gives you this trait. I'm putting it in B tier, but for a trait that can be found in game, its value is very time and difficulty setting limited. Hiker gives you a bonus in foraging and trapping, as well as some of the trapping recipes. Trapping is the second best skill for sustaining your weight, and it goes hand in hand with using items you find from foraging as bait. This is a refreshingly good combo for 6 trait points. However, I'm putting it in low B tier, as fishing is simply better at providing you food when near water, while assuming you can't feed yourself via looting. You also do not need a bonus in foraging to level it up quickly. Keen Hearing is the highest possible S tier trait. It increases your sight radius behind your character. This is a key advantage in escaping a surprise zombie from behind, and surviving as long as possible is the goal after all. Low Thirst reduces how fast you get thirsty by 50%. Sadly, this trait isn't that good because water is abundant and easy to find. However, as someone who prefers reducing the annoyances of the moodles that force you to do things every X amount of minutes, I do so love this trait. You do not realize how much time you spend filling up water containers and drinking out of faucets until you take this trait, especially for habitual users of high thirst. I'm putting it in B tier just for the quality of life bonus. Organize increases the capacity of all containers for your character by 30%. This is incredible when it comes to hoarding loot, particularly stuffing as much of it as possible into your bag. I give it A tier because it's not actually necessary, just really nice to have. Stout is a +2 boost to strength. Strength doesn't give quite as many bonuses as fitness does, but it's still a really good skill. A tier. Adrenaline Junkie got nerfed into the ground. It increases your movement speed while at the 2 highest tiers of panic. However, they removed the ability to use it in combination with any of the panic traits aside from Fear of Blood. This means you do not have easy access to the bonus and has a very steep cost. Since your panic reduction increases over time, it becomes harder and harder to trigger as well. F tier. Handy has a steep cost, but gives you a bonus in carpentry and maintenance. The bonus to carpentry is nice, but the bonus to maintenance is huge. Maintenance determines how long your weapon lasts, and the increased leveling speed of the skill makes a big difference early on. It also increases your building speed and the HP of some of the things you make, but those barely matter. S tier trait if you're interested in combat and your class doesn't start with a maintenance bonus. I'll put it in A tier. Hunter is an interesting skill because purely trait point to skill point wise, it's got the best ratio. You get aiming, sneak, short blade, and trapping as well as all of its recipes. It kinda gives you everything you need in one package to survive. Ranged and melee skills, a bit of stealth, and the ability to feed yourself. However, the cost is high. B tier. Thick Skin reduces the chance you are injured when attacked by 30% according to the mod. I've never tested this trait, so I'm not confident in that number or how it mixes with armor. It could very well save you, but at 8 points it's a very steep cost when the goal is to never get hit in the first place. If infection is turned off or survivable, it would probably be pretty good. D tier. Finally, we get to Athletic and Strong. Both of these are S tier traits. They both take a long time to level, and while fitness takes much longer, compared to all of the other traits, these two are the most worthwhile to put points into in my opinion, as you are unlikely to ever hit high levels in these traits without many hours of effort. If you had to choose, I'd recommend taking fitness over strength, as strength is easier to level. Strength is nice for its carry weight, but you reach a point where you have enough carry weight and damage, while fitness continues to massively improve your character with each level. It is important to note that you can gain or lose these traits in-game. It is possible to grind your way up and save the trait point cost. If you're wondering if I'll do a tier list for the negative traits, I likely will not. Unlike the positive traits, the negative traits are less compared to each other and more of a question of whether you are willing to deal with the consequences of the trait. That lends much better to individually talking about their worth based on how much they change your gameplay.